My title is pretty self-explanatory, I would say. So I will share our experience of building design systems, cross-platform design systems at Musixmatch. So after a brief introduction where I will give you some context, there will be essentially two parts. The first one will be related to approach and our approach, the design principles, and how we apply this on Figma. Then the second part will be related to the framework, React Native, how we use it, and the development of our component. But first of all, a couple of words about me. I'm Andrea, but please call me Zillo. I work as a UX engineer at Musixmatch in the design team. I have a background in development, in front-end development, but now I work 100% with the design team. And if you don't know what UX engineers do, according to what the design team at Google says, we are hybrid profile who mix product, design, and engineering skills trying to bridge the gap between design and development. And also a couple of words about Musixmatch. We are the largest lyrics and music data company in the world. So we provide lyrics, synchronized lyrics, translation, credits, and all kind of data to big providers. The fun fact is that probably we are in your lives more than you think, because when you, for example, share an Instagram story and you see the lyrics synchronized with the song, that's our data. Or when you, for example, open Spotify or Apple Music and you see lyrics there, that's what we do essentially. We achieved this thanks to our suite of products. And of course, Ritmo, which is the name of our design system I'm introducing you today, plays a key role in creating this suite of products. For non-Italian people, Ritmo means rhythm. It's like rhythm in Italian. So we have this, of course, relation with the music industry. So Ritmo is essentially how we build our products. We created our design system based on our very own needs. And this is true, I would say, for every design system. Design system live inside a company, live inside a team of people that work together. This also means that there is no absolute truth about design system. What can work for us at Musixmatch doesn't mean that can work for you in your teams or in the product you build. This may sound as a disclaimer for my talk, but it's the reality. So please take everything I will share today as an input for you and something that work for our use case. This is a photo that, probably it's a little bit too much blurred, but this is our product development team. Last year, we did a workshop where we share React Native and Ritmo, and we play one day with creating prototypes and React Native apps. It was very fun. And this relates to the fact that at the end, the design systems are about humans that work together. Also, we can see design system as a very powerful tool to share the knowledge between all these people. And that's what we do. Now I want to ask you something. How many of you have ever created or contributed to a design system before, either as developers or designer? Okay, a huge number. So for the people that have less experience, There are two key concepts when we talk about design systems. The first one is constraint matter. So essentially, we create our own constraints, and even it may sound like a big limitation, in reality, good design comes from this limitation. So it's a way to go beyond and find new solution to when it comes to design. And also, code and tools matter because it's very important to understand the technology, to understand the tools for testing components, document components, everything that that is part of this huge game. This is a brief history about Ritmo. We started in 2019. We started working on this. And some months later, we released our first Ritmo-based product. It was on web only, but the code base was built in React Native. The following year, for the first time, we released our first product completely cross-platform. So we had this web application, an iOS and Android app. And then our product offer is growing a lot. So for this reason, now we have more products to maintain, and we, in the last year, or let's say 2 years, we started to create some processes and improve the team who works on the design system because we needed more effort on it. So let's start by talking about the approach. At the time, in 2019, this was our vision. We had the iOS and Android app, which were our core products, let's say, because thanks to those apps, we created our large community. And but then, as I was saying, we needed to create other products and go on web. And for this reason, we realized that probably we need a way to create a unique source of code and ship it on multiple platforms. That because you can understand that it requires some effort to maintain Android developer, iOS developer, and React developers all together. Even if the design system principle can be shared between different platforms, at the end of the game, they were using different languages, of course. So for us, this was our vision, our need. Of course, we needed time. As I was saying before, it took years to see something like this, which is one of the lyrics page that you can find on our website, which is one of the most visited page of our product, and here you can see how everything scales perfectly between web, iOS, and Android. In this way, we can share the same code base everywhere. By definition, what does it mean to have a cross-platform approach? It means to have essentially one code library supported by the design library who can ship the code on iOS, web, and Android. Now it's the slide. I don't know if you can see it, but here and here there are what are in reality multi-platform design system, which may sound similar, but it's not the same. With multi-platform approach, we identify systems that have different code bases, one for each platform, okay? While our cross-platform approach requires only one. Of course, one of the pros is that it's easier for us to manage this. So this seems okay. We need one code base. Well, what we have to do to start with it? Should we start directly from the code? Of course not. There is a lot of work that should be done on the design phase. And our principle is essentially to simplify the user experience as as much as possible, make it generic and coherent across different contexts. So, for example, you can see here, this is one of our navigation patterns. Let's say that this is an app with 3 main tabs: home, music, and search. And actually, this is the home page of my app, and the tabs in the header goes to the bottom in the small version, because this is a pattern quite common in native development. And when I click some content here, I go to a detail page where it shows the back button. So here I can go always on the previous page. And in this way, you can see how this pattern scales on small screen. So essentially, we took some native patterns and we mixed it with other from web to create this simplified user experience. Also because if you think about it, probably not us in this room, but if you ask to my mom, for example, it doesn't recognize what is a native screen from a web screen. Everything that you can tap on your smartphone is the same UI, if you think about it, if you build with React, if you build with other frameworks. So the concept here is that the user experience should be the same across the platforms, and we just have to think about screen sizes, essentially. And design for screen sizes is also very powerful for designers, because they can focus a lot on the product. So understand what the user need, understand how we should sell something, and of course they don't have to spend too much time on how this specific component work on mobile screen. I don't know it. Every time I have to copy paste it or customize some things because developer asked me to do it. No, essentially you import these kind of components in Figma, and everything is already working everywhere. Also, in tech conference, so we speak a lot about technical debt, but this is something that also we have on the design side. So imagine to have a designer who worked on web pages, on websites, probably doesn't understand a lot of patterns of Android, for example, material design or iOS. So with our system, we allow designer to essentially start crafting UI with a lot of complexity reduced thanks to the cross-platform approach. This is another example of how we design for screen sizes. This is the carousel component. You can see that on large screen and on medium screen, we have the classic navigation with arrows that appear on over, because we suppose that, of course, user can use the trackpad or the mouse. But when we go to small screen, the arrows are hidden, and we found that this pattern works better. So we show the 30% of the last item on the right, and in this way the user understands that he can swipe to the left and scroll the content inside the carousel. So this is another example of something that we took from native development, and we applied it everywhere. Of course, since tools matter, Figma plays a key role on maintaining maintaining our library. So we create all the variables, all the configuration that you were seeing before about the carousel in Figma, and Figma is very similar to how we then develop the libraries in the code. Not 100% the same, of course, but it's very similar. And one thing that I want to highlight here is that we put a lot of effort on understanding which are the best defaults value for configuration of all the components. We strongly believe that defaults are something that can speed up both the design and the development. So we we spend a lot of time on this. Then, of course, as any other design system, we have our foundation. So we have the spacing units, our typography, which just have 11 type styles. With just 11 type style, we do everything. The icon system, of course, our color system, which supports light and dark mode since the beginning. We have components, of course, so we start from the from button and very atomic components, and we arrive to more complex one, like for example this one that we will see later also, or something like the account menu, which is shared across all Musixmatch products. For every component, we have design specs on Figma, because this is technical documentation for the designer. So everything is in the tool. And last but not least, we are also working now on creating more and more pattern documentation. So we are going beyond components and try to, document how they should work together when you have to, for example, create search patterns or other stuff. We, as the title suggests, we use React Native to achieve this. And React Native is one of the first cross-platform framework that has been developed by Meta. And essentially, it doesn't create anything. It allows to maps custom React components to real native ones. And when we create custom React component, we use the building blocks that React Native provides. In this way, we can define one business logic for all the front end. Of course, React Native solves what Android and iOS need, but we still miss one piece, which is web, right? So we use, on top of React Native, this library called React Native for Web. Mateus was mentioning this in the first talk today, and I know that Nicola later will also spoke about React Native Web. Essentially, this library uses React DOM to render React Native code on web. So, for example, here you can see that these are building blocks provided by React Native, very generic element like view, text, and image, and they React Native Web translate everything with semantic HTML output. This is a simplified workflow of how things are connected between React Native and React Native Web. It's very simple, but you can see how everything is connected to the Android SDK, iOS UI Kit, and HTML DOM. So we define UX principle. We have framework in places. We have React Native and React Native Web. So what is missing on the development side? We need another thing, which is the component swap. The component swap essentially is this code pattern, let's say, where larger components render smaller components inside of them based on the screen size. So I can show you this example. This is a component that we call dialog. As you can see on large screen, it looks like very similar to a classic model web. It has the close button here. Of course, all the area is, if I click on the area outside, it dismisses the component, but we also have the close button. But when I resize my screen, you can see this, which is another component called bottom sheet. Bottom sheet also is another component very common in native development. The UX changes a little bit because here we have on small screen, we have this is the dragger element, which allows to swipe down the component to dismiss it. So it's essentially they are two different components, and we can with different APIs, and we still can edit those components separately, but together they provide this API that I hope you can see. So with importing the dialog component and adding very, very simple props like the ones for the actions, the ones for the text strings, all this complexity is inside this very small piece of code. And this is very powerful, of course. What about creating a wall page in this way? So here I put here another example, which is let's say we need to create an app, a screen in our app where users can search their favorite songs or artists. And when the user will type in here the title of the song of the artist, then here we will show the results. We start usually we start from web because it's easier to test and to develop with a console. So what happened? Essentially here we try to create the macro structure of our layout. We are using again some building blocks from React Native, like the scroll view component, and we also mix other components that come from Ritmo, like our input field or our empty state components. After starting to create this code, I can already test it, so I can see how all these components change. You can see again the pattern about the navigation, so tabs from the header go to the bottom. I can also test light and dark mode and stuff like that. Then I want to show the results. So I add the list component and the grid component. The list is for songs and the grid is for artists. And these are specific components that we have in Ritmo because you can understand that we need something specific to show music content, which is very similar to what you see in your favorite streaming platform like Spotify or Apple Music. When they accept this data object here, and when this object is empty, they automatically render the skeleton loading. So they have the loading state inside of them, and it works as it is. Then, of course, we can simulate an API call and see everything in action. So here I can start typing. This is the loading state inside the component because we are fetching the API. And this is the result. So we have the songs on the top with our list, and the grid below with for the artist. Then I also need to add some actions to the songs because I want to add link to artists or view credits of the song. So in this way, I add a menu, and I can see this model. I forgot to put the code of the dialog here, but it's the same of the previous slide essentially. So it still works as a bottom sheet on small screen and as a dialog on large screen. Then after other quick testing, we are close to test everything on Android and iOS. So let's see. When the simulators appear, here we are. So we are ready to test it on iOS and Android, and as you can see, here the UI is 100% the same status, the loading state with skeleton element, how we show songs, how we show artists. You can see that, look at how the animation of the bottom sheet, look at the UI, it's 100% the same between web, iOS, and Android. So it's cool to craft UI components. It's cool to play with React Native, have this approach cross-platform to the design system, but we need a lot of effort in order to understand how to evolve a design system which is already in place and how to maintain it. So it's crucial to define a workflow clear to everyone in the team, and for this reason we try to treat Ritmo as a real product, an internal one, but still a product. From a code perspective, Ritmo is installed by default as a dependency of all our applications, even if it has its own repository. Of course, it has its versioning, but it's installed by default everywhere. This is very helpful because we can ship new feature or fixing bug, being sure that everyone will receive these updates from the design systems. Of course, again, tools matter, so we needed a way to create technical documentation, and we use Storybook for this. Also because Storybook recently improved the support for React Native, so you can use it if you are using Native. This is very important because you cannot let other people contribute to the system and make the knowledge available to everyone if you don't have clear contribution guidelines, clear way to contribute to the code, but also to the design. So Storybook is for developers, but we also provide a playground which is pretty useful for designer, product manager, and other people that want to play with Ritmo components. And this is probably the most important slide, and it's the final one, which is how our contribution process works. Essentially, Ritmo, you can imagine Ritmo as an internal open source project. So at the center, we have the owners, which can be both designer and developers, who have the responsibility of guide the project, lead the direction. But the reality is that who contributes to the system are all the people around. So we are very product driven, so we don't want to be a bottleneck for a team who work on a specific product and needs a new feature on an existing component, or need a totally new component. So what we do is that everyone can create his own request to the owners, to the Ritmo team. Then, of course, we discuss how and when to, work on this request. But if everything is okay and we review the request, the engineer of this team can open a pull request and create the code for it. Again, this is possible only because we share the same technology, the same design system everywhere. Of course, we strongly believe on this. And people who build the design systems in this way are always connected to each other. And this is also very cool, as I was showing you in the workshop photo of the beginning. And also in this scenario, it's easier to maintain and elevate an existing design system, because everyone is aligned on this on this contribution process. And that's it. Thank you. I leave you here the QR code if you want to ask some questions, since I think we have time.
We do have like 10 minutes for like questions. How many? It's a great talk, and it was your first, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I mean,
excluding meetups, yes. Yeah.
So yeah, we do have another React Native talk at the end. So probably those two they complement, and they do have a I like the React Native for the web. So the creating apps that they could eventually be not just for React Native but also for the web. So that's quite interesting. How many are interested to try that? Yeah, you see the majority. That's good. Number. So can you tell us a bit about the React Native for the web and how you have used it in the company?
Yes, I mean, it was something that we started to use. I would say we were maybe the early adopter of this library. It was built by Nicholas Gallagher, which is a former Twitter developer. And the fun fact is that he develops this library as a Twitter developer when React Native came from Meta and Facebook. So this is, I found it fun. But yeah, we started using it because we needed a way to go on web starting from native apps. So as I was saying, when the company started in more than 10 years ago, we had these native apps, which were our core products and allowed us to create a large community around the lyrics lovers. And we had native developers in our company. So, but the product offer that we had was, was growing, and we needed a way to move a step further and go on web, essentially. So
how the designers are interlinked with what you are creating with this new way of creating React Native applications that they could be used for the web? Has something changed for that?
I wouldn't say no, because we spoke together about this approach, and we discussed it a lot together. So it's a decision that came up from all the product team, essentially, designer, engineers, and product manager together. But again, it's something that I really want to highlight, that from a design perspective, using a component and don't worry about how this will work on Android or how this will work on specific web screen is very important, because we can speed up how designer build products, essentially. So we don't want to focus too much on this kind of details. Ritmo is here for that. Our designer should work on the whole thing.
Yes, exactly.
Make the product work. Yeah.
Any questions? Anybody wants to ask something? Okay.
Hello, 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay. Hello, nice talk. My simple question is how your solution supports accessibility and users with accessive technologies?
React Native Web is built around accessibility. Do you mean accessibility for web or okay, special? React Native Web already have inside the library, I mean, a lot of things that improve accessibility. Of course, it's not 100% perfect, and sometimes we do something in order to improve it. But React Native Web is already one of the principles of the library is to provide accessibility for web. So, as I was showing before, it can render HTML, semantic HTML output starting from React Native. So it translates very well that kind of part. So it already does the job, let's say.
But I saw that you are adding a role on the. You're adding a role on the tags.
You in the slide? You mean?
Yeah. There was.
Let me see if I can. Yeah. I can take it. This one. This one. It was. Yeah,
you're
yeah.
adding a role.
This is what we write, and this is what React Native Web can render.
Yeah, that's
So-
good. So yeah, that's quite good. Okay, so if 5 minutes and we are going for lunch. Unless anybody has any other question.